Hey, group four. I read through your shared Google Doc, and one of the things that really resonated with me as I was reading, and I also saw as a common thread, was the kind of fundamental theme of critical self reflection around the privilege and power that we hold and how to use that strategically as a social worker to help advocate for clients, to help lessen the power imbalance, to help share power, to help push back against institutions and systems, and work towards equity and justice. So I just wanted to lift that up and say kudos to you for acknowledging that. And as I was thinking about it, what does it really look like in action on the ground, in direct service, to use our positional power and privilege? And this may or may not be related, but I have to say that just as I was reading, particularly the the skills you identified, one was don't twist your clients into pretzels to fit your practice. Allow yourself to be uncomfortable when your clients are going through suffering. Don't try to fix things so quickly so that they don't have to suffer. Empowering clients does not always mean forcing clients to use their own voice and self-advocate. Sometimes it's equally important to use one's own privilege to help or support clients in that. Um, you identified critical self-reflection, recognizing the power imbalance is not enough. We need to work towards changing that. The power of being a social worker, identifying who holds power in situations and settings and institutions and systems, and then understanding our own identity and positionality. So all of those really popped up to me, and then I just sat here and thought, and to bring this down to the practice, real practical practice level, I had a memory come to mind that I was like, oh, I'll disclose this and just put it out there for food for thought for people, in terms of kind of where I felt most conflicted um, around using my positionality. So I was in child welfare in a county in California. And to give you the quick rundown, I was working with a family, a young Latina mother, monolingual Spanish speaker, undocumented woman, and she had dabbled in using methamphetamines, and her kids were removed for not necessarily just the drug use, of course, but it was some abusive behaviors that had happened connected to that. Kids had been placed with a white American, pretty wealthy family, and the kids had thrived really well with that family. Mom worked really hard on herself, both with her substance abuse, her trauma background, her employment situation, and also housing. Got herself on her feet, got her kids back. And so when I inherited the case, mom had just gotten the kids back. And so we were sort of adjusting to coming back home. And mom was living in a shared living situation with family. That situation ended up escalating and became really tense and unhealthy for mom, in terms of it was not a supportive environment for her to keep on healthy behaviors. And so mom moved the family in with another relative in a really small apartment, and the the housing situation clearly became a really big stress point for the family, and it was kind of making things be a little bit shaky. This is all to say we ended up getting to a point where mom's looking for housing, and we lived in a county in California that has one of the highest it's one of the highest, most ridiculous housing markets in the country. And mom could not find housing because of her income, because of her undocumented status, and because she had a felony on her record. Um, that being said, mom's starting to feel the strain, really, really feel the strain on her personal life, in her personal self, and was super honest with me. And she was working the plan beautifully and engaging with all her providers, really working on herself. But she really came to a point and she was like, if I don't find more secure housing for my children, I know this is going to make me go backwards. And me going backwards means I am putting my children and my family in jeopardy, in terms of her own behaviors and in terms of, a forced removal. So mom had the idea of And by the way, during all this, the kids had maintained a positive relationship with the former foster family. And even mom, somehow we made it work, even though there wasn't shared language. There's a lot of power imbalance there because of socioeconomic status. But this was something that mom supported because it was good for the kids and the family loved the kids and etc. So mom said to me, can my kids go and stay with the former foster parents while I figure this out with housing? Because this is really, really hard and I don't want to jeopardize things in an unhealthy way. And so we talked about it at length. And essentially, what I needed to use was my knowledge about the child welfare system and how to use it as a way, how to use the system in such a way where we could remove kids from mom and place them with the foster family. And this is something that mom really wanted. She saw all the benefits. I mean, the kids got to go to really good schools. I mean, her children were just bright and beautiful. And one of them was like totally on track to like go to Harvard or something. And so as a mother, she was seeing this as super beneficial beyond what she saw within her own social location of ever giving her children economically and like built environment wise because of where they would live. And I mean, this really broke my heart that was the reality of it. But mom saw it as such, and this is what she wanted for her family. And so kind of my job was to fully inform her of the system and how a move like this could work, but to be super, super, super clear and make sure I was super clear and therefore make sure she was super clear on what it meant if we were going to sort of use the child welfare system in this regard to have her kids placed back with the foster family, because mom had no other friends or family that she could either live with or that the kids should go with that would be healthy for all of them. So we did it, and it was probably the most sad and one of two sad and profound decision making points I went through with a family, but fully with them leading the way and being completely engaged. And so we did it. And so we officially, through the court system, placed the kids back with the mother, kind of using the child welfare system and the laws to mom's advantage in a way. But it did mean on paper that we were removing the children from her again. And there was going to be consequences to that. And she was fully aware, but that's what she wanted. And that's what, the department helped facilitate. So I still struggle with that one, but in a way that was kind of my biggest challenge and affront to really client self-determination, using my power and positionality to help do what the client was determining and wanting for her family, yet it also felt so hard, and I would say even ethically a little bit murky for me, particularly as an anti-oppressive practitioner, the fact that this was all rooted in because mom couldn't really find affordable, safe housing for her children was super sad, but that was beyond the resources and beyond the scope with which this child welfare system choose to look at the root causes of removal and abuse and neglect. But anyhow, I just thought I would share that, just like putting it out there. I hope it was somewhat useful. And I guess I just share it to connect it to, the challenges of client self-determination and collaborative decision-making and the challenge of putting away what we think is best for a client and a family and allowing them to make that choice and decision for themselves, and then being able to do that using my own positionality and power and knowledge that I held that she didn't about the system and the options. So yeah, I guess I put it out there, and feel free to respond and tell me what you think. It was murky. It's still gray in my mind and in my heart, but that's just what came to mind as I was reading a lot of the skills you guys identified. So yeah. All right. Thanks.